What's up, everyone? Welcome to Power Play with CJ. On today's episode, we're going to talk about Steven Stamkos and why Stammer should be an MVP candidate and why he should win it. Obviously, Evgeny Malkin's having a great year himself. They're tied with 80 points apiece, but Stamkos has done something that, we'll talk. Let's get to the details. The Lightning were dead 2 weeks ago. They were awful. The goaltending wasn't where it was last year. For a team that had made a long playoff run that many didn't expect them to make. It's kind of the hangover of going to the conference finals. Rolison got old. It's, Olderson. And, Garan had been inconsistent. In the last 10 games, they're 7-3, and Stamkos has been a huge reason why they're resurgent, and only 2 points out of the 8th spot in the East with a game at hand on Winnipeg. They're a point behind Washington. You think about, Washington's got all the talent in the world, but, they don't know what to do with it. I think that's kind of a rough thing to look at. The Ovechkins and the Suns of the world. Tampa trades away Stamkos' best friend in Steve Downey. The captain's hurt. Van Eastman out for a while. Trade away Pavel Kabina. Just start dumping guys off. Almost selling at the deadline, which I can understand for Yzerman. It's not as much he was given a requiem to the season. It was more, okay, we don't have any assets in the organization. Let's rebuild going forward. And in the case of Kabina and Moore, worst case, re-sign them July 1st if they want to come back. But they've been on fire. His line with Teddy Purcell and the ever ageless Martin St. Louis. I couldn't find the best word to describe Marty. It's been great. Him and Marty have had great chemistry the last 3 years. Marty's been juggled between playing with Stammer and playing with Vinny, and a guy like Marty can play with anyone. He's that skilled. He's that's unselfish with the puck, and that creative that he can open up chances for various guys. And to watch the two of them play is really a treat. Stammer, though, he's making everyone better. He's got 47 goals leading the league. He's significantly ahead of the competition. When Phil Kessel got off to that great start, it looked like, wow. But he's on another level, I think Tampa could afford to shut down the goals against average, but he's doing everything in his power to, he's 9 goals ahead of Malkin for the goal scoring title, and tied with him in points, and, he's been outstanding. 2 goals the other night, including the OT winner, 2 points against the Rangers, coming back from a third period deficit, scoring against Montreal the night before that, big one 2 assists against the Devils on the Saturday before that. He's really and truly doing everything in his power to get him in the playoffs. If Tampa makes the playoffs, it's Stamkos should win the MVP. Now, the argument for Malkin is he has Ned Crosby this year, and obviously not having said the kid is kind of, that'll hurt your chances. But you can't argue with the results with Stamkos. He's really been everything you could want. You look at, he got the big extension this offseason, and you look at, how does that affect his play? It hasn't. He's having a career year. His career high is 51 goals, which was in his sophomore year in the league. He had a little bit of a drop-off in the second half last year, and ended with only 45. This year he's got 47, and with 17 games left, and the way he's putting them in, I wouldn't rule out 60. He's been that good. And the other thing with Stamkos is, he's more or less changed the way he played. Originally, it was always that shot from the left wing side. He's got the great wrist shot and the great snap shot from one time, and it's as good as anyone off the one knee, which is absolute beautiful form, I might add. But he's hanging out around the net. He's getting rebounds, tip-ins, tap-ins, and deflections. He's really emerged as a full and complete player. His defensive game's coming around. His face-off percentage, isn't the highest in the league, but it's not bad. He's maturing as a player, and I think that's one thing you really want to see. And he gained a lot of respect around the league this past during the playoffs, taking that shot from Boychuk off the eye and coming back and playing in the third period of Game 7. Lightning don't win the game, and they get shut up, but just having the intestinal fortitude to come out and keep playing after a horrific injury like that is amazing. You really can't discount a man for that. There's one thing you can't defend against, and that's courage. And he really showed that in that series last year against the Bruins. And with Vinny out of the lineup, you down not only captain, but a bona fide elite NHL center, and he's really stepped up in Vincent's absence. And like I said, if they get into the playoffs as an 8 seed, I think they can beat the Rangers. To be honest with you, the Rangers will get the first and the East locked up. That's fine. But you're gonna have the best goalie and the best goal scorer. That'll be pretty good. And he's had some snipes on Lundqvist in the past. Stammer has had some real snipes over the years. But I really think Stamkos is the league's MVP if they make the playoffs. I can't. Gino's also played 8 fewer games and still has as many points to it because Malkin was hurt himself. But he's been everything you could want from a guy, and what he's really. He's got one of the best selling jerseys in the league. He's really become a source of revenue for the NHL, and I think he could be. Him and Tyler Seguin of the Bruins could have a rivalry that rivals Sid and Gino. Sid and Ovi. Speaking of guys that come in with a bang and don't do consistently, that can be the big rivalry. They faced off last year in the playoffs, and that can be a big rivalry going forward. That'd be really good to see as a hockey fan, and as a guy that likes both teams. Find yourself right in the middle, but it's still pretty cool either way. That's it for this episode of the Power Play with CJ, and why Steven Stamkos with the Tampa Bay Lightning should win the Hart Trophy for league's most valuable player. Stay tuned for more episodes throughout the season. Later, guys.